Friends, welcome to the channel. Don't forget to subscribe and like it so you won't miss new incredible stories and rare historical photos. In the recorded history of Washington, D.C., the Knickerbocker Storm remains unsurpassed, both for the amount of snow it produced and for its devastating toll on human life. The collapse of the roof at the Knickerbocker Theater, which took 98 lives, many of them children, was described by the Washington Post as the greatest disaster in Washington history. The storm itself was remarkable for its persevering intensity, generating snowfall rates of greater than 1 inch per hour over the 24-hour period from Friday afternoon January 27 to Saturday afternoon January 28. 25 inches fell in that span, establishing a 24-hour snowfall record. All told, the storm laid down 28 inches of snow, more than any other storm in more than 130 years of official Washington, D.C. weather records. Sub-freezing temperatures in the days preceding the storm meant every flake stuck. The cold weather had become established by a blocking pattern, common prior to and during the Great District of Columbia snowstorms. In such a pattern, a traffic jam of sorts sets up in the atmosphere. High pressure over Greenland backs the flow in the atmosphere, resulting in a large dip in the jet stream over eastern North America. The dip in the jet stream allows Arctic air to plunge south into the mid-Atlantic states. An estimated 22,400 square miles, 58,000 km2 of the northeast United States were affected by 20 inches, 51 centimeters of snow from this snowstorm. Snowfall was quite heavy in Maryland and Virginia. Richmond, Virginia recorded 19 inches, 48 centimeters. The measured snow depth at the main observing site in Washington, D.C. reached 28 in 71 centimeters, while an observer in Rock Creek Park a few miles to the north measured 33 in 84 centimeters with 3.02 in 76.7 millimeters of liquid equivalent. Railroad lines between Philadelphia and Washington, D.C. were covered by at least 36 in 91 centimeters of snow, with drifts as high as 16 feet, 4.9 meters. This snowstorm is the biggest in the history of Washington, D.C. since official record keeping began in 1885, although it is dwarfed by the 36 inches, 91 centimeters of snow in the Washington-Jefferson storm of January 1772. At the height of the storm, a crowd of between 300 and 1,000 people had packed into the city's newest and biggest movie house, the Knickerbocker Theater, for a showing of the silent comedy Get Rich Quick Wallingford. The roof of the Knickerbocker Theater, which was designed by Reginald Wycliffe Jr. and owned by Harry Crandall, was totally flat, allowing massive quantities of snow to accumulate during the storm. Eventually, the heavy, wet snow split the roof down the middle, bringing down the balcony, as well as a portion of the brick wall. Dozens were buried, 98 theatergoers were killed, and 133 were injured. Congressman Andrew Jackson Barchfeld was among those killed in the theater. The theater's architect, Reginald Wycliffe Jr., and owner, Harry M. Crandall, later killed themselves. The horror of what transpired is captured in this excerpt from the Washington Post, originally published on January 29, 1928. An eyewitness to the catastrophe, a man who had just entered the theater and who barely escaped with his life, said that a hearty peal of laughter preceded the falling of the roof. Great God! He exclaimed. It was the most heart-rending thing I ever want to witness. Close quote. In the lobby of the theater, firemen and policemen and strong civilians worked as best they could in an endeavor to extricate the wounded and the dead. It was a task that tried the souls of men. When the crash first came, it was followed by the screams of women and the shouts of men. Agonizing cries pierced the air. One woman, in particular, shouted at the top of her voice, shouted not for help, or aid, or succor, because she was probably not conscious of what happened. Friends, thank you for watching and offer to discuss what you see in the comments. See you soon on the channel.